I know you're trying to forget. I know I gave it, 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 gave it.
Welcome to Superstuds World. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I appreciate you guys. First and foremost, I just want to apologize for last week. I was supposed to drop a video, but we had a death in the family. My amazing, super strong little cousin passed away, and I was with my family, and we were just celebrating his life together. So but here's this week's video. First of all, I just want to let you know, as you can tell, I'm not where I usually am. I'm inside my home this time, and I got two little puppies. So if you hear them, don't mind them, and if you see them, they just want to be YouTube famous. So don't mind them. But anyways, another cool thing about this week's video is we're gonna do something new. I actually have my girlfriend interviewing me, asking me some questions, only because I feel like when I'm talking to you guys just by myself, I'm trying to give you guys all the big stuff that I forget other important things. So this way, hopefully with these questions and her interviewing me, she'll be able to get a little bit more out of me. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever after I drop this video, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll get to you guys as quick as I can. And so I've got my notifications on, so I'm always ready for you guys. But yeah, so here we go. Let's start episode 3.
So last week you were talking about Amy.
Right.
And I just felt like you didn't go in depth with her or how you felt when she cheated on you or things like that. So I wanted you to talk a little bit more about that, about how you felt, about what led you to do the things that you did afterwards.
Okay. So as you guys know, Amy had already cheated on me, and over time, I didn't mention to you guys that it was more than once. And it really hurt me. It broke my heart. She was my first love, my first girlfriend, and my first heartbreak all in one. And so I really wanted to work throughout our relationship, and so did she. She was more about making it work than I was, don't get me wrong. She knew what she did, and she spent every day trying to make up for it, and I unfortunately became a little colder. I became more of an asshole, and I became very vengeful. And not only did I succeed in being vengeful, but I also surpassed it. There was things that I did, they were wrong. I abused our love. I did. I was horrible, at some point. I was really upset with her, and I just could not let go of the hurt. Yeah, we broke up, and yeah, we tried to fix our relationship, and we did many times. We tried over and over. And I remember there was a time where I was at a friend's house, and I was so upset with her that I was like, I want to hear her cry because I'm bored, just because it's something to do. So I called her, and within seconds, she was on the phone crying, I love you, I'm sorry. And, I was being really cruel and really horrible. And like I told you guys before, I was being really selfish, So, as time went by, yes, she was my girlfriend, but I stayed with this anger in me all the time. And I felt as though, I wanted to get even. And so I did. And unfortunately, once I started to get even, I didn't stop.
So why did you stay with her?
I loved her. She was, in my mind, she was my ride or die. She was going to be that girl that whatever I did, after she had done her stuff, that whatever I did, she was going to forgive me, and that she was always going to be there. And it was like that for quite a while. Don't get me wrong. You guys are going to hear Amy in quite a few of these episodes. She stuck around, and but I stayed with her because I loved her, and I wanted her to be the one that I stood with for the rest of my life. I was young, but I had a fairy tale too. I wanted to be with just one person, the first person I fell in love with, and that was it. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, and it's okay because me and Amy are still really, really, really good friends. But I stayed because I wanted to. I wanted to try, and I wanted her to be able to stay with me while I overcame all these things that I was fighting within myself as well. I didn't know how to communicate with her that I was angry with her, except for treating her like crap. And our relationship, our ups and downs wasn't all her fault. I can't sit there and say everything's her fault because it wasn't. I knew what I was doing, and I didn't stop. But I wanted her with me. I wanted her, and that's why I stood.
So last week's video, you were telling us that you cheated on her with a girl named Jeanette.
Yeah.
And so how did that start? What happened there?
Well, I was talking to a friend about this thing called Downlink, and so I went online and I signed up for it. And at that time, I was working. I was going to that alternative school, and so aside from having Amy as my girlfriend, I was always busy, but I felt like I wasn't always busy. So I sat there and I signed up for this thing, and one day I got a message in my inbox, and they were expressing how I look nice, and how my profile was funny and stuff like that. So we began to send each other messages over in each other's inbox and stuff like that. And over time, a few days later, we found ourselves messaging each other quite a bit, and I couldn't always get to a computer, so we exchanged phone numbers. And after doing so, I racked up a pretty high phone bill with texting her so much. And my mom calls me one day while I'm at work, and she's like, I just got the phone bill, and it's $350. You can't afford that. You're only working part-time, and you're going to school. That's too much. So, we're going to cut it off. And I was like, no, please don't. I'm going to figure out how to do it. If I can get extra hours to pay it, it's whatever. I'll take care of it. I have a job now. I'm going to be responsible. And so, once I hang up with her, just in case my mom decided to cut it off anyways, I called this girl and I was like, hey, look, my phone might be getting cut off. My phone was like $350, and I didn't know I was texting you and talking to you so much, and I have enjoyed myself, but just in case it does get cut off. And she was like, you know what? After work, I'm gonna go pay for it. Don't worry. And I was like, no, you can't do that. That's a lot of money, especially for a phone bill. You can't do that. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, she's not my girlfriend. I haven't known her for that long. I cannot let her pay this money. So I begged her. I was like, don't worry about it. Please don't pay for it. And by the time I got out of work, it was paid for. And so I still hadn't met this girl. We were just messaging each other and talking over the phone. And so I felt obligated to take some time out for her, especially with spending so much money, So a few days later, I got my aunts and my mom and my cousin and a few friends together, and we went out to this club. And I invited her to come down with her friends. And she met me there. And our first meeting was pretty interesting. She got there with her friends, and right away she was like, come to the bathroom with me. And I was like, all right, cool. Maybe it's too loud in the club. Maybe she wants to talk to me a little bit more, whatever. So we go into the bathroom, and her friends are like already in there. So I'm like, okay, hey, what's going on? Nice to meet you. And, everybody introduces themselves, and she's just staring at me like hardcore. And she just pushes me into a bathroom stall, and she just like starts making out with me, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm surprised that, she didn't even get two words in before she just started making out with me. And all of a sudden I hear somebody banging on the door. And that bathroom is for more than one person, so there's no reason why the door should have been locked. And when I opened the stall, her friends had it locked, and it's my mom banging on the door. She's looking for me, and I come out and I was like, I was using the bathroom. I'm sorry, and so she's like, come out, and I was like, all right, cool. So we all come out of the bathroom. We go onto the dance floor. We get with my friends and my family, and are you kidding me? This girl's like, let's dance, and I was like, all right, cool. So we start to dance. And she's sitting there, she's doing the most with her hands. She's putting her hands all over my head while we're dancing. And she's like, you look so good. And she's like rubbing the back of my neck. And I look at my mom's face and she's just like, she's looking at me like, why is she doing so much? So, I'm trying to take her hands down and I'm trying to dance with her the right way. And she's just like not going. She's sitting there just rubbing her hands all over my face like, you look so good. And I was like, thanks, So, excuse me, a little while later, not too much longer afterwards, they closed the club. And, we go our separate ways. Hey, it was nice to meet you, and, suck face with you and all that or whatever. And my mom, right off the bat, does not like her. She's like, that was gross. She was doing too much. And I was like, I know, whatever. So right after that, I texted her and I was like, it was great to see you. I hope it gets chill again soon. And we do, actually, we seen each other a few days later. And so when we see each other a few days later, she's like, hey, why don't we go out, let's go out to eat or whatever. So we go out to eat, she invites one of her friends, and her friend is like really grilling me. And first of all, I don't like questions. I don't like to feel like I'm being interrogated. So I just don't like her friend right off the back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home. I had a nice time or whatever. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't like her vibes or whatever. So I go home. Not a problem. Next day, I go to school, and I guess I skipped one too many classes, and they called my mom. And my mom's like, hey, your school called me. I'm about to go down there to talk to them. You better not leave. And I'm like, man, I'm stressing out. I'm already older. I'm like, I don't want to get my ass beat. So I leave. And I call this girl and I'm like, hey, I got in trouble at school. Where are you? I want to see you. And she was like, all right. Well, I'm at work right now. She's like, I don't get out till this time. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm walking out. I'm getting ready to get on the bus. And she calls me right back. And she's like, I'm leaving work. I'm going to meet you at this mall. I'll be there in a few minutes. And mind you, she doesn't have a car. I don't have a car. We're both on the bus. But we make it there in about 30 minutes. It was really easy to get to. And when we get there, she's like, why don't we get something to eat? We get something to eat, and she's like, let's go to Victoria's Secret with me. So I go to Victoria's Secret with her. We go in there. Now, I don't want to sound shallow, and I know that I'm not the smallest person in the world, but let's just say that she shouldn't have been shopping at Victoria's Secret. So we go in there, and she's like, why don't you pick out whatever you like? And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, first of all, you don't have an ass. Second of all, you don't have boobs. It's just like fat on you, and you're already fat. So it's just like, fat on top of fat, and it wasn't cute. We shouldn't have been there. But I wasn't going to tell her that. So we go in there, and I'm trying really hard to help her, make her feel better. And, we pick out a few outfits, whatever. She leaves with a good 4 or 5 bags, right? And that's just for her. So while we're walking around the mall, she's like, hey, you haven't gotten anything. Would you like anything? So we're right by a cologne store. And if you know me, one of my weaknesses is colognes. And so we go in there and I pick out two. She picks out one. And it just so happens that hers comes with a cologne for men, right? Bam. So I leave with three, whatever. And we're about to leave. And she's like, is there anything else that you wanted? And I was like, no, I'm okay. I wasn't trying to sit there and talk about her money, but she just kept insisting. So I was like, let's hit the shoe store. So we hit the shoe store. I get some J's. She's like, well, now you need a hat. I get a hat. And after that, she's like, well, now you need a few shirts. And so we go across the street to my favorite store and get a few shirts. And, my mind has been occupied with all this shopping for the last couple of hours. And in the back of my mind, I know that I have to go home and I have to deal with my mom. And, and I'm scared. It's my mom and it has to do with school. I already didn't graduate, and I'm messing up the second opportunity that I have. And it's just like, I know I had to grow up. I just didn't want to go home and face it, so quickly. So I'm very grateful for her. She was amazing. She was a great person to talk to. She was great. I needed her that day, and she came through for me more than what I would have thought. And so I go home. She goes home. I thank her, and mind you, we've just been talking, and we've only chilled those 2 times.
Okay, so why didn't you call Amy when all this was going on?
With Amy, I already knew what she was gonna say to me. I already knew that she was gonna be disappointed in me, just like my mom was disappointed in me that I was skipping classes. And I just wanted to be with somebody who I didn't feel was gonna judge me. Who didn't know my story like that, who didn't know my past. So there was no way that they could say anything like, well, you've already done this once. She didn't know that.
Okay.
So
you went home and what happened?
So I went home and my mom was waiting for me. She was really upset with me. It was the first time that she had ever threatened to send me with my dad. So I was like super scared because she had never ever said that in my life. And so I was super scared and I didn't want to be home. I didn't want, she said some hurtful things to me and I knew that it was because I messed up. I'm not going to sit there and be like, she was just being crazy. No, I messed up and I know what I did, and everything she told me, I deserved it, But, so I was really scared and I didn't want to be home. So I called Janet again and I'm like, hey, this is what happened with my mom because of earlier. And she is like, well, you can catch this bus and you can catch this train and it'll lead you to the bus stop and I'll have my sister pick you up. So that's what I did. I was there in about 45 minutes because she lived on the south side of Chicago while I lived on the northwest side. So it was quite a ways to get there, but I did it, and she was there for me again. And so I get picked up. We go to her house. She lives in this amazing, beautiful house, and I meet her parents. It's a little late, but everybody's up. Everybody was excited to meet me, I guess. She had told them about me. So I met her parents, I met her sister, and so we go to her room and we're hanging out or whatever. And she suggests that we have some intimate time so that I can forget what's on my mind. And I'm like, all right, cool, not a problem. I mean, you spent some more money on me today. I guess I kind of owe you. In my mind, I'm thinking this. I'm not telling her nothing. So, cool. So, like I told you before, not that her body is all that mattered, but, her body was not banging. And so, when it came to getting intimate, it was a little weird for me because I go down there, right? And it's just, it's kind of hard to get in there. You know, first of all, I haven't had many of these moments, you know, especially not with somebody different. You know, at this point in time, Amy was the only girl that I was with. So, you know, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is really different than Amy's. Extremely different. A lot harder to get to, you know? And so I wasn't feeling it, and I just tried something else, and, you know, that did the job, whatever. And so after I was finished, she asked me if she could return the favor. And something you guys don't know, I hadn't let Amy give me any what's that word again? Any cunnilingus or whatever the word is. Look, I didn't let her give me no head in all those years, okay? And I wasn't comfortable, you know? So I let this Janet broad do it, only because I didn't care. I didn't love her. You know, I didn't care what she was gonna think about me afterwards. So I let her. And Amy, I'm really sorry that you didn't know that I let her do it first before. But yeah. But yeah, so, you know, she did it, and it felt okay. It wasn't all that, you know, but then again, it was the first time, so I was really uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure that I didn't let myself get comfortable all the way. And so I didn't reach that peak at all. I was really upset. Really upset. So after me and Janet had been intimate, I spent the night. And for a little bit, it did get my mind off of what was going on at home. But it didn't mean that my problem was going to go away. And I knew that sooner or later I had to go home. And that I had to, you know, get right at school. If I wanted to graduate and I wanted to get my, you know, my high school diploma, I had to. So the next day, you know, after I spent the night, I called Amy, and, you know, I found myself feeling some type of way that I had let this girl do that, you know, perform oral on me instead of letting Amy do it, who I had already been with for so long. So, you know, I just wanted to see her. I wanted to spend some time with her. And so I did, and she called me, you know, she called me back, and she was like, well, you know, I don't have to go to work today, and I'll pick you up. You know, we'll go have a picnic or whatever. And so she did. She was always pretty good at cheering me up when I was down. And so she picked me up. She had a picnic basket ready for me, and we went to the lake, and, you know, we partook in other activities that I'm not going to mention. But if you know me, you know what I'm talking about. But you know, it was a really nice day that I spent with her. And so I asked her if, you know, if she would want to come spend the night with me at my house. And her parents suggested that, you know, if I can stay over there instead. I guess they had something to do the next day, something like that. So, you had a question?
Did you ever feel bad that you had, I know you felt bad that you had let her, you know, perform fellatio on you, but did you feel bad that you actually cheated on her?
At first, I didn't think about that. I didn't think that I wasn't thinking about the cheating part. You know, I'm going to be completely honest. I was thinking more about, you know, my issue, what I was going through, and trying to get my mind off of it. Initially, it hadn't hit me. And I think that's why the next day is why I called her. Like I said, I did feel bad. You know, I felt bad that my first experience, you know, was with Amy. You know, because it should have been. It really should have been. But it didn't hit me till the next day.
Okay.
You know, what I did. And so that night, after I was with Amy all day, I spent the night at her place, and you know, I started, I started the whole, let's get sexy thing, and she, after I was, after I took care of her, she asked me like she had done so many times, and I finally said yeah. And so it was different with Amy. It was really different. It was much more. There was much more romance, more love. She was much more caressing, much more softer. She was more. She asked more questions. If I was okay, if she was doing something right, if she could do something more. You know, I was the first person that she had ever done that to, so I could understand why she was asking questions and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did. I don't remember. Um, but it was different, and it made me feel even worse that I didn't have my experience with her first. And so after that night, I did feel bad for what I had done. So I spent a few days with her, and it was really nice, like it usually is once you've done something bad and you realize it. You try to make up for what you've done. And so but that didn't last too long. you know we argued again about something stupid, I'm sure. And I ended up calling Janet again, and we seen each other again. And Amy still hadn't found out about her. And so Christmas, I remember actually for Christmas that you know I didn't buy just one copy of that amazing Love and Basketball movie. Yeah, I bought myself one, I bought her one, and I bought Janet one. But it's because everybody liked the movie. I know some of you guys are like, you're horrible. But, it was a good movie, and I just wanted to make sure everybody had a copy everywhere that I went, so I didn't have to carry mine around. And so yeah, so I continued to see Amy, and I also continued to see Janet. And then you guys remember that other girl that I was talking to you guys about? Marlene? Well, that's when she came into the picture. Just a little while later, after Valentine's Day. And I found myself talking to her on the same site that I started talking to Janet on. And she had sent me a message, and I started to message her back. And this time out, it was a little different. After the whole Valentine's incident, I didn't want that to happen again, so I was really honest with her. And I let her know that I was in a relationship and that I was seeing somebody else aside from my relationship. And, she was cool with it. She didn't belong to anyone, and she was just trying to have fun. And so we started text messaging each other. And, the very first day that she wanted to hang out, she asked me if I can pick her up from school. And so her school was actually not too far from my house. And so I walked there, and I was waiting outside her school. And you know how you watch those movies, and there's that really super cool boyfriend outside of the school waiting for that girl to come out? That's how I felt. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for her, and she comes out, and I'm like, okay, not looking too bad in person. And she comes down, she says hi to me, she introduces me to her friend, and she automatically wants to know if we can go to my house to hang out. So I was like, all right, not a problem. We go, we take the bus back to my house. And it got a little intense pretty quickly, actually. I remember chilling on my bed, talking to her. And I don't know what got into me. And I was like, do you want to play a game? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, have you ever played? Are you scared yet? And she's like, no. So for any of you guys who don't know, are you scared yet? Basically, it's, she was laying right next to me. And I put my hand on her stomach. And I asked her, are you scared yet? She said no. And so I put my hand on her thigh. Are you scared yet? No. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to move my hand up a little bit. So I moved my hand up a little bit and I asked her, are you scared yet? She still said no. And so I was like, all right. In my mind, I'm like, let's see what I can get away with, right? So I go and I take my hand, I put it on her boob. And I was like, are you scared yet? And she starts to giggle. She gets really red and she's like, no. So I was like, okay. So she gets comfortable, like she fixes herself and, she's got on these really tight jeans, this small cut-off shirt. And so basically it looks like she's giving me more leeway to play with, right? So, I get really adventurous. And I put my hand by her thigh pocket. And I was like, are you scared yet? And she just gave me this look like she was like hungry, like if she just wanted to bite my face off. And so she was real quick to to go ahead and pull me in, and we started making out. And it was a good little chill session with her. We made out quite a bit. We stopped playing Are You Scared? And I just chilled with her from there. And so it was really nice to meet somebody else, to chill with somebody else, to conversate and pick somebody else's brain. All of these girls were different, and they each brought something different to the table. And it was just nice to, I know I was cheating, but it was nice to have options, and so yeah, it just felt good to have options. So I'm dating Amy, I am seeing Janet, and now Marlene. Now I start seeing her, and she's a really good sport, or how do I say, in today's terms, she was a really good side chick. Only because Amy would call me, and instead of throwing a fit that I was talking to my girlfriend, she would actually walk out of the room or walk away, and even when Janet would call me, and I was even when I was arguing, she was just like, I'm gonna walk away, and I'll give you your few minutes or whatever. And so I was having fun with her, and the very first time that we got intimate, I really didn't let anybody else give me any oral after that. I just wasn't with it for a little bit, after the whole Janet and Amy thing. Like, I just didn't want it. I felt as though I could always brush up on my skills, So the first time me and Marlene got intimate, it was a little disappointing for me. Only because, she kissed really nice, and she smelled really nice, and she's, we had good conversation, good chemistry. But I went to go get intimate with her, and I'm trying to do the whole Rico Suave thing, and she's got a nice flat stomach, so I'm kissing on her stomach or whatever, and I get to her belly button, and I'm like, something smells a little funny, just a little bit, and I'm like, maybe it's her belly button ring, right? So I'm like, just gonna bypass it, let me just take these jeans off or whatever. So, I do that, I unbutton them, and, everything comes off or whatever. And I'm just like hit in the face with this really odd smell. Now, I haven't eaten many Thought Pockets just yet, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to smell like that. So I didn't want to embarrass her. So I went and I tried it.
Took one for the team.
I took one for the team, and I was not okay. Like, I couldn't even finish. Like, I was like, like a few minutes in there, I just couldn't. I can't hold my breath that long. I'm not that talented. I can't just ignore that there's like this foul odor coming from your snatch. I just can't. I can't. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe she had gym today at school and she didn't shower. So I was trying to come up with all these excuses why. Cause I was like, man, she's a good looking chick, you know what I'm saying? She's got a nice body, you know what I'm saying? She's nice, And so, after that, I was really upset, really disappointed. So I don't call her for a few days. I'm still seeing Amy and I'm still seeing Janet. And I'm hanging out with them, and, she calls me following weekend, and she's like, hey, I really want you to come over. I got some money, so, we can get something to drink. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'm down. I have nothing to do. So her and her mom come to pick me up. So her mom's like, yeah, are you ready for tonight? We're going to have a good time. And I was like, so your mom's going to drink with us? She was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. I'm always down with that. So we're drinking, we're having a really good time. And I can remember my memory getting blurrier and blurrier as the night went on. The last thing that I can clearly remember in my mind that night was sitting on a chair, and her and her mom were like dancing, like, on me. And I was like, all right, her mom wasn't old, she was young. And that's all I'm going to say. She was young. And so in the morning I wake up, massive headache. All right, massive. I look over and I see Marlene, and I'm like, all right, cool. But I turn over the other way, and her mom's in bed with us. And I know that lady got her own room. I've been to her house a few times. I've seen it. I was not in all of my clothes. I was only in a pair of boxers and a Dago. My clothes were thrown on the floor. My shoes were, I don't know where they were at. Okay, and the fact that I woke up next to both of them, I was really, really nervous. So I didn't smell my fingers. And I went straight to the bathroom and I washed my hands. I washed my face, and I started to look for all my clothes and my shoes. And I was like, yo, I've never, ever been so drunk that I don't remember not sleeping with somebody, And the fact that I woke up next to her and her mom, and the last thing I remember is them giving me a lap dance, man, I was good. I was out of there. I was like, damn, that's how they feel. So, and again, I don't know what happened. I'm not going to say that I was intimate with them, because that would be really, really bad. But I just don't remember. Hopefully we all just slept together in the same bed, because everybody was just really drunk. But yeah, so that me and Marlene, we didn't last long at all. She actually contacted me a few days later and asked to see me. And when we seen each other, she was really honest with me. She was like, I have somebody that I would like to date, and I just didn't want to just stop talking to you out of nowhere, so I just want to let you know that I'm going to start dating somebody, and that, we're good. We can be friends, and that's it. And I appreciated the way that she did that. It was amazing, the fact that she was honest with me. It was great. And we stood friends. But that was the end of Marlene. However, that wasn't the end of me and my thoughtivity. I actually met someone else on the exact same site, and I'm not even gonna tell you guys her name. I'm just gonna tell you guys to make sure you guys tune in next week. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for visiting Superstuds World. Until next time, guys. You guys have a good one.
What does it look like?